I will rumble with the voice of prophecy. We are standing steadfast against the gathering dark as our battle lion flashes down the troubled beats will fall. Take a chance, roll the dice. Is this hell or paradise? In this land of high adventure, carnal fate. Forgotten realms, magic spells, hallowed halls beneath the fells. He's the master of the evil in the deep. He's the dungeon master. He's the dungeon master. He's the dungeon master. He's the dungeon master. That's right.
Welcome, one and all, to the first session of Twitch Chat Plays Dungeons and Dragons. Let's get straight to the point. I know that some of you are wondering, how can you do that, Arcadum? How can this possibly be? How are we worthy? Well, I will show you the path stream. Listen well, for what I am about to tell you may not be repeated. It'll probably be repeated, but that sounds more dramatic when I say it like that. So, basically, this is how this is going to work. There is going to be a main character. You, Twitch Chat, will decide what that main character does when decisions come up to his life. I will roleplay the main character, but with your input and influence. So be careful, Glory Stream. For every choice you make will shape and mold this young man to become whatever it is that you mold him into. Whether he be hero or villain is completely up to you. Which path he decides to take to accomplish his goals will be up to you. And everything else that occurs will be because of your actions and your decisions. So, now that that has been made clear, we shall begin with a little bit of exposition. The character that you will be controlling is named Clyde Vanson. He is the adopted son of Bronson Vanson, a prominent blacksmith in the city of Scabbard City, or Scabbard as it's known by the locals. They think the city part's pretty pretentious. Your character is currently 17, and when our story begins, you will have awoken in your room on not only your name day, but also on a very important day. For there is a task that you have heard whispered by Bronson and your various other prominent people in the shop that leads you to believe that today you will be given a task to test your manhood and ultimately help you ascend from child to adult. So, let us begin. Okay, so you awaken in your room, a simple room, one that is not necessarily a place of means, but one that is well provided for. An old, soft bed that you lay upon with a nice linen cover of your pillow is more than most people your age could ever hope to have. Your father, adoptive though he may be, is a prominent craftsman, and therefore has provided you with much during your life. And as such, you awaken and begin your day. This is your character, Clyde Vanson. Young though he still may be, there is much more to his life, yet undiscovered and yet undecided. You look like young Draco Malfoy. Oh, that's funny. Okay, And so, having awoken, you brush your hair, you clean off your face with a small basin of water next to your bed, and you basically stumble out of your room to meet the day. As you open the door, you see that the shop is not yet full of people. It seems that your father has yet to open. No doubt that there are a few chores that still need to be done. So, you hear him over by the forge and move to greet him. Well, well, look who's finally up and about, boy. I was afraid that you'd sleep all day, and I'd have to work me old bones straight down. You do your father pride just getting up in the morning, I suppose. Tell me, did you have any good dreams? Is that what took you? Alright, Glory Stream. Your father has just tried to lightly chastise you for sleeping in. How should you react? Simply type one of the options. 1 through 7. Just so you know that in the future, I'm probably going to allow 1 minute of these. You have chosen logical. Well, you see, Father, it's really hard for me to get a proper night's sleep when I'm up on the bellows all night, because someone forgot to finish their part of the work yesterday. Your father's is taken aback by your logical outburst, caught, it would seem, by his own pantaloons. You're right, boy. It is my fault. You always were the smarter one, I suppose. Oh, well, in either case, there are some work that needs to be done, and we have to get ready before the customers come in. So, get to your chores. I have to go prepare the books again. And with that, your father leaves you to do your chores. Okay, so, you're now left to your own accord. I wonder, though, Glory Stream, which chores would you like to do? This option will be given multiple times, but there's only so many chores that you can do in a day before the customers arrive, and you know that your father does not very much like talking to the customers, so therefore, it more often than not falls to you and your slightly more charismatic self. So, which chore would you like to do first? Remember, just type the number. If you type something else, it won't register it. Sleeping makes me weeping. I'm sorry, that one got me. Whoops, I didn't actually get to see that. I accidentally double-clicked. Well, let's try it again. This is a learning stream. Once more with feeling. Sorry about that. Ah, it was 2? Thank you. Okay, I'm not going to spend as much time on this one since I messed up. Okay, finish poll. Alright, it would seem that you choose to sweep the floor, Twitch chat. Very well. Clyde Vanson begins to sweep the floor. Grabbing the nearby broom, he begins to sweep away, dealing away with the dust. The quick, deft movements of the broom lift his heart, and he is filled with determination. But more importantly, you gain +1 to dexterity, chat. Well done. However, there is still plenty of the morning left, and the customers will arrive in some time. So, you must now do chore number 2. Stir. Which option is that? Alright, and so your decisions have been made. And it would seem that you have decided to arrange the supplies. So, looking upon your father's work, although he is a kind dwarf and a skilled craftsman, he is not one for organization. Deftly and quickly, you rearrange all of the ingredients and supplies of the smithy in alphabetical order, and also in order of those easily to be used and easily to be reached, and a series of other systems. Doing so gets your mind working, and you are filled with determination, but more importantly, your intelligence increases by 1. And so now, you have just enough time before the customers arrive to complete one more chore. So, which chore would you like to do? Oh, whoops, I forgot to do the rearranging animation. There we go. Yeah. And so it has been decided. You shall work the anvil. Wishing to participate in the work that your father has done for many, many years, quite a few in fact, because he is a dwarf, he lives longer than a normal human, you decide to work your hands and maybe give a little tribute to your father. And you begin to briskly work the anvil. It pounds up and down against the stone floor. As you do so, you work up quite the sweat. Your arms begin to sing with fatigue. And as you finish, you increase your strength by 1. Okay. As you finish your chores, your father returns. You did a good job, me boy. This place is looking spotless. I I see you rearranged the supplies again. I always do trust what you do more than that. And I see you've worked the anvil. Let's see what you've actually done. You need a bit more work, boy, but this'll be fine. Maybe I'll get a few shillings for it. There is a bustle as the door opens to the south. Oi, here comes the customers. I'll stay back here by the forge and I'll fulfill the orders. You know what to do, boyo. Sure thing, Pops. Clyde begins to move towards the front of the store as the first of the guests arrive. Alright, and this is the man that approaches you. You recognize him as Mr. Bojangles, a nearby farmhand who often comes to your father's for farming equipment, repair, and also tools. It would seem that Mr. Bojangles, once again, has, well, destroyed some of his tools. Oh, it's just good to see you again, Clyde. I was wondering if your father maybe had some time for a bit of repair work. I seem to have broken my tools again. I wonder, chat, how should Clyde react? Lay down the law on this ginger. And so, the voting has been complete. It seems you have chosen to be blunt. Clyde responds, you know, Mr. Bojangles, look, you always come in here and you constantly pay us for new tools. Now don't get me wrong, we like the business, but maybe you should hire some farmhands instead of overworking your tools. Or maybe hire somebody that knows what they're doing. It'll save you more money in the long run, and you can spend more time with your wife. Oh, you're right, Clyde. You're right. I should just put up the gold and hire some new farmhands. Alright. I'll do that instead. Tell your father I would like to replace my hoe at least. I will need that repaired, but thank you very much. You've got a wise head on your shoulders, my boy. You're gonna be a great man. Great man someday. Alright, and the next of the individuals walks into the store. Uh-oh, chat. It's Honest Harlock. The city swindler, well known throughout these parts. A man that's known to wear the most ludicrous of outfits and constantly lie and cheat and steal his way through all that visit. He walks in to the shop and starts to eye the merchandise in that shady way. He saunters over to you, Clyde, and he says, "So, has the old dwarf made anything of higher quality lately?" How should Clyde react, chat? That's an IQ, chat. Let's bang, okay? Be the change you want in society. I don't know if we should sex. And so the voting has finished. You have chosen to respond smoothly. Well, honest Harlock, you know, I don't know if we have anything of high quality except for everything in the shop, but I can't help but wonder if you've actually got any money, considering that you're wearing such low quality clothes this time around. I mean, look at your jacket, it's torn. That hat, nobody's believing that. And, do I smell a whiff of shit and urine from the street? Did you sleep outside last night? Honest Harlock is taken aback. His hat nearly falls from his head as he... this is a shitty shop anyway. As he then begins to saunter outside, obviously wounded, however. Critical hit. We won't get sex this way. Alright, before we get to the next customer, there's something I do want to explain to chat. If you're worried that your votes aren't counting, or for whatever reason, I should point out that subs count as 5 votes, mods count as 2 votes, and everyone else counts as 1 vote. So something to keep in mind. Alright, so the next man that enters is a huge man of great girth and muscles as well. Musculature, I think is what I was trying to say there. This man approaches, and you recognize him as Mon Widegirth, who is not Moon Moon. He is a war veteran, and he approaches. Wolfen is a toad, Clyde! Come here, boy! He grips you in a mighty bear hug. When is that old Bronson gonna let me turn you into a warrior? How should Clyde react? I need an adult. Kiss him. Bold like Doritos. Because he is honestly attractive. You have decided to be kind. Let's find out. It's always good to see you, Mon. Yeah, my father's almost done with that great axe that you requested last time, but we're not able to make any headway on the mithril greatsword. We ran out of the supplies, and we're really sorry about that. I want to become a warrior, but father thinks I should learn a trade first. Well, your father is a smart man. You should listen to him. Unfortunately, peacetime is death of a warrior. I haven't killed a man in at least 2 years. It's frustrating, and no one's around to pay me to kill people. Having a trade is the smart route, my lad. Listen to your father. He's a good man. Well, seeing as how the great axe isn't finished yet, which is fine, I understand. Quality takes time. Guess I'll go up to the brothel and see if Rose is available. Okay. I'm sorry, that one made me laugh. That one made me laugh, I'm sorry. Alright, and so the next customer enters. You recognize it as someone that you've never seen before, Clyde. A young girl who bears the mark of the nomadic Daltinian gypsies, the harrowers, the speakers of fortunes, and the readers of the stars. She approaches you, kind of curiously looking around, and she says, "Hi, I'm Teresa. What is this place exactly?" How should Clyde respond? Give her a straight right hook. Roll for hit. The main character is 17 years old, which in medieval times is most certainly a man. Be bold, my boy! Smooth criminal. He's legal! This is my negotiating fist. Alright, the voting has ceased. You have chosen to be smooth. Well, Teresa, there are many things in this shop. Beautiful pieces of arms and armor. Although I have to say, that was until you walked in. You are by far the most beautiful thing in this shop. And I have to tell you, although we've never met, I think I've seen you before, perhaps in a dream. Teresa widens her eyes at such smooth talk. She blushes slightly, but then seems to remember that she has something else to do. She was unprepared for your forward and, shall we say, skillful advances. But she will give you a parting smile as she leaves the door, or leaves the shop. Smooth like butter! You a fucking child, lol. Bye. Alright, and the final gentleman to enter the shop is someone you recognize, an old friend of your father Bronson. Well, if it isn't Clyde Vanson, hello, my boy. You recognize this as the local lord, Gabriel von Liechtenstein. He walks up and claps you happily on the shoulder. How have you been, my boy? Tell me, please, tell me everything. Tell me everything. As he then begins to move his tongue in a suggestive manner, which you know is the Liechtenstein way. How should you react? Give him a Liechtenstein. Shout blood for the blood god and put him on the anvil. And so the poll is finished. You have chosen to be rude. How have I been? Well, a lot better than you, apparently. I heard about that scandal with your maid. Tell me, Wait, did you know that she was a man before or after you cheated on your wife with her? What? What? How did you hear about that? Your father will hear. Your father will hear of this. You will hear of this. All right, and Gabriel von Liechtenstein will walk over to your father, angrily gesturing towards you, angrily gesturing towards the ceiling, and just angrily gesturing. Seeing as how nobody has actually bought anything, you're kind of disappointed, and decide to at least start dusting the shop, because your father's not going to do it, and somebody has to. As you do so, however, you're able to overhear something. You overhear Gabriel von Liechtenstein speaking to your father, Bronson Vanson. And this is what you overhear. Are you sure the boy can handle it? I thought I knew his character until just a few moments ago. Tell me, Bronson, what is wrong with him that he would speak to me in such a manner? Oh, I am very sorry, my lord. I'll have to remind the boy where he comes from. I promise he woke up cranky. Please forgive him. Your father pleads. Oh, of course, fine. I suppose it's to be expected. A young lad like himself is full of the fire. Yes, I understand. Very well. Are you sure he is ready? Yes, my lord. I am sure, without a doubt in my mind, that my boy can handle this delivery. Simple and straightforward, I promise you. I promise you. Very well. See to it that he gets it done. And you see Gabriel von Liechtenstein hand your father a large bag of gold. Here is your payment. You're a trustworthy blacksmith, and I shall see that my friends hear of it. Even if your son is unruly. He will leave and give Clyde Vanson a glare. Seeing as how all of the customers, at least for now, have exited the shop, it would seem that your father is not very pleased with what you've done, and calls you over. Boy, get over here right now. You understand what you've done? That man is one of our sole proprietors. He's the one that keeps this place open. I understand you don't like him, but we have to deal with people that we don't like, boy. Haven't I taught you better than that? How do you choose to react to your father's words? Fuck you, Dad, I'm 17. You're not my real dad. We are not staying consistent. Who are we? What is my motivation? You're adopted. Okay. Right, and we'll finish the poll. It seems you have chosen to be honest. Father, you're right. I'm sorry. You always taught me to speak my mind, and he's just a bad man. He disrespects everyone, he doesn't pay his people well, and he cheats on his wife, and she's such a nice lady. I don't understand why someone like that is considered better than us. I know it is hard, my boy. I know. But remember, you must learn to pick your battles. But enough of that. Now is a time of pride. For now, it is your time to show that you are a man. And for that, I've prepared something for you. I know that you've had a little bit of training in different paces, but now it's time to choose a path, my boy. And once you have, I will give you your first task. If you go into my room, you'll find that I have a surprise for you. There are 4 outfits, fully equipped. You may choose one of them. I'll wait for you here, and I'll get your rations ready. As you enter your father's room, you see 4 illustrious outfits in front of you. Each of them immaculately and meticulously prepared just for you. So, this next choice, I'm going to give you a full 3 minutes, or 3 to 5 minutes on, because it is a very important choice. Just to be clear, I'm not really doing classes. I'm kind of doing my own, like, pseudo rule system that I built for this. So, just pick whatever feels right. Which of these outfits... Uh-oh. One moment. This actually broke on me. It's okay. I can fix it. Give me just a moment, please. That's why we have these tests, Dream. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. Which outfit do you choose? The Knight's Ensemble, the Mage's Gear, the Charlatan's Coat, or the Hunter's Outfit? I will allow enough time to pass so that almost everyone has gotten a vote. If you haven't voted yet, I ask that you do so now, because this will define a lot of the game from here on out. Force Arcadum to play as a nerd. No! Don't do it to me, chat! Gonna give it a little bit more time, chat. A charlatan is a liar, a con man, a rogue. Alright, 3 minutes have passed. The poll is now finished. And you have chosen the Hunter's Outfit. As you do so, you put on the leather armor, you strap the bow to your back, you put the twin knife blades into their sheaths at your side, you check your bandolier, and you have fully equipped the hunter's outfit. And as such, your token has changed. You are now ready to hit the road. As you stroll out, your father nods, as if satisfied. "Alright, me boy. You look fantastic. You look, His eyes begin to water. You're grown up, my boy. I know that you're a human, and you have that wanderlust in you. I always knew that this day would come, you know. Oh, the bellows of me heart they're blowing. Sorry, my boy. Please be careful. Please be careful. And he will hand you some supplies. You're given rations, a water skin, and a little bit of gold in order to pay your way through. 100 gold pieces. So, as you have been given your equipment, your supplies, there's a few things that should be noted. By equipping the hunter's outfit, you have taken the path of the wild, and as such you gain a +2 to dexterity, a +1 to constitution, and you gain the following skill proficiencies: stealth, survival, perception, and once per day, you may use the special ability Leap. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to be putting something out there for you guys to keep track of all this information. I didn't really have enough time to get all that done, but don't worry, it'll be improved next time. You have my word. Okay. So, as this happens, your father pats you on the back, and you turn to face the first leg of your journey. Alright, and for now, I'm going to go to the bathroom and take 5, because this is a lot of work. And I shall be back in a moment. Be right back. All right. I am back. Okay, so, as you return, or excuse me, now that I've returned, you set out towards the forest path. You notice that it is a warm day as you exit the city of Scabbard and you follow the path. The cobblestone path goes in between Scabbard and Iron Horse, for your mission stream is to deliver a parcel. This parcel contains something that you do not know exactly what it is, but it is something that your father has entrusted you to do so. You must deliver the parcel to Iron Horse, to a man named Thangren. So, seeing as how that you have just set out, you walk the path through the forest that separates Scabbard and that separates Iron Horse. As you get to the part of the forest where the path is overgrown, the forest is tangled. It's overgrown, and the path is not very clear. So, now we will choose which of your abilities that you want to do. So this is basically how we do just basic challenges that you're going to run into. This is not necessarily combat challenges. These are just normal challenges. And to face these normal challenges, what you'll have to do is you'll have to choose one of your attributes to use. Keep in mind, chat, that using attributes that you're not very good at do come with a heightened chance of failure and less of a chance of success. But if you succeed at a task that you do not have the normal specialization in that attribute for, you can also get more of that stat. So that's actually a way to increase your lower stats if you want to. And don't worry, I'm going to have all this information somewhere for you guys to read after this. This is just a dry run for me to test this concept to see if it'll actually work. So, the way ahead, the forest is tangled, and the path is unclear. How do you attempt to defeat this challenge of finding your way back? Negotiate with the brambles in your back. I just realized that a lot of you probably do not understand what exactly these statistics might mean. So I'll do this quick explanation while you're voting. I will give you the tomato explanation. Strength is your ability to crush a tomato. Dexterity is your ability to juggle tomatoes. Constitution is your ability to eat a rotten tomato. Intelligence is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing that a tomato does not go in a fruit salad. And charisma is the ability to sell a tomato. Those are the differences. And now the poll is finished. You've chosen Dexterity Stream. Clyde, thinking quickly, decides that he'll analyze the forest path and follow how the plants have grown, because the plants that grow around the cobblestone are going to be a little bit less dense than the ones that grew freely. He gains this knowledge because of his survival skill. He then uses his dexterity to avoid the thorny brambles and make his way through the forest easily. He has now found the path again, and he sets forward. As he walks along the path, several hours pass, until finally he comes to a fork in the road. To the north, he notices that there is a place where people oftentimes will camp, and as such, he decides maybe now would be a good time to rest. So, I give you this option, chat. Should you rest or continue? One moment, please. A few hours have actually passed. I did just say that, but that's fine. The poll is finished. You have decided not to rest. Clyde decides to push himself further, and as such gains a +1 to Constitution from the workout. As Clyde continues, he comes to a valley. This valley is a bit precarious as there are steep cliff walls that go up and above. There is danger of rocks falling and who knows what else. Clyde decides perhaps it is best to use stealth in order to make it through here, just in case some nefarious individuals can be found. After all, the wildlands are wrought with bandits. Clyde begins to move through the rocks carefully, looking, crouching, rolling, shifting, sliding, and doing various other stealth-like things. And it just so happens, with his sharp perception, Clyde overhears a few men talking, laughing, convulsing. Clyde turns the corner and looks around, and he spots 3 shady-looking characters. Apologies, my old tokens seem to be messing up, so I'm going to have to do some quick DM work here. Okay. Clyde sneaks his way forward and sees 3 shady-looking characters speaking with each other. And this is what he overhears. So do you actually think anybody's gonna come down this valley? I mean, we're really close to Scabbard right now. Oi! I think I know the best spots, huh? Who got us that last week? Oi, she was a ripe one, she was. Shame she killed herself. That's fine, we'll find another one. Maybe we'll find a nice boy with a tight arsehole. So, as you approach and watch them carefully through the rocks, it doesn't seem as if that you can get past them, even with stealth. So, you will have to face them. Which path do you take? One moment, please. One moment, please. I'm sorry. This does take a bit. Which path do you take? Do you choose gratuitous violence, spicy dialogue, or the path of the coward? for the blood god! And thus, the poll... Oh, we still got a little bit of time. Oof, it's really close between gratuitous violence and spicy dialogue. I want to give it a little bit more time. Come on, more people vote. Uh-oh, spicy dialogue's pulling ahead. Alright, it looks like spicy dialogue has pulled ahead. You have decided spicy dialogue. Clyde nonchalantly approaches the men. They turn. Well, what do we have here, boys? It looks like some little boy's all by his lonesome. Oh, I must say, you've got a nice cut to your meat, boy. That's a nice bow you got there. Yeah, I like his hair. All right, how should Clyde react? That face when you have low intelligence, but you're trying to flirt. Play hard to get. Oh, God. Hey, Moon, thanks for the host. Alright, chat. The poll is finished. You have chosen to be bold. Ha! Well, let me ask you something. First of all, you men seem to have some shitty-looking weapons. Tell me, did you steal those from a poor person, or were they in good quality before you messed them up? Stand aside, bandits, or else I'll put an arrow between each and every single one of your eyes. But I won't kill you. I'll let you walk around blind for the rest of your days and see how long you survive then before you die of starvation, a wolf eats your throat, or you die from dysentery, shitting yourself all over the road. The bandits are taken aback by this bold statement, but they do not quite look convinced to stand aside. Oh, yes, some pretty big talk from a little boy girl. Why don't you put your money where your mouth is, boy? Yeah, give me your hair. I'm gonna see what's under there. All right, Clyde. How should Clyde react? All right, I'm going to let it vote a little bit longer. And... actually, you know why you guys are voting? I'm going to explain to all the new watchers that just got hosted in here. So this is how this works. Twitch chat plays D&D means that you're going to be controlling the main character, Clyde Venson. And the way that you control him is by voting, as people are doing right now, in order to decide how he reacts and does things. I will be role-playing all the characters, including Clyde, but every choice that you make as Twitch chat will define the person that Clyde becomes, how he reacts, and how he ultimately completes his adventure. So, finishing poll. You have chosen to be bold, chat. You know, my father always taught me to be nice, to be kind, courteous. But seeing as how you're all a bunch of pig fuckers, you quickly draw your bow and fire an arrow to the one in front of you. The arrow strikes the bandit in the chest. Blood flows from his mouth as he falls to the ground, clutching at his chest and his sucking wound. The other two bandits step back, completely taken aback by the boldness of such a strike. The two bandits grab their friend, and they flee into the trees. You have successfully defeated this encounter with spicy dialogue. You gain a +1 to charisma. Alright, a few moments after the bandits go running off into the trees, you continue your journey. But a few minutes pass before you hear a woman's scream. The scream seems to be coming from the north, through the trees. Could the bandits have found a poor maiden? What will you do, chat? How will you respond? I'm gonna let you guys vote while I get some stuff on the side ready. And so the poll is finished. You have chosen gratuitous violence. Clyde quickly runs across the road, off the path, and into the wilderness. He follows the path through these strange, torn-down trees. This must have recently been opened by a storm, as you can see debris, broken branches, shattered trunks laying everywhere. You hear the woman scream again, coming from the north. Thinking quickly, you move forward and come to a strange archway. The archway looks foreboding and dark. The stones of an ancient ruin can be seen hidden amongst the trees. But, as you are bold, chat, you move forward the archway, unabated by the fear gnawing at your gut. And as you enter, you see something strange. A doorway, darkened, with nothing that you can see from outside. Vines grow up around this old ruins. The stonework seems ancient, something from far, far back before your time. You also see a strange statue of a woman. The statue of this woman, she seems to be holding food in her hands. Not real food, mind you, but stonework food. Alright, chat. How will you face this challenge? Oh, God, it's doing it again. Hold on. I'm gonna fix it this time, don't worry. How will you face this challenge, chat? Hashtag not my statue. Charismatic, gratuitous violence. Okay. Poll is finished. You decide to use charisma. Okay. Clyde strolls up to the woman statue and strokes its arm sensually and whispers, "You know, if you were real, I could show you the world in its shining, shimmering splendor." Clyde will then move his eyebrows in a wriggling fashion. It seems that charisma has had no effect on the statue. But, as you have moved closer to the statue, you notice that there is a well. As you are bold, you decide to approach the well to investigate it. As you approach the well, you notice that it is filled with sparkling water. The water seems clean and almost, well, as I said, sparkles in the sunlight, which is strange because normally water doesn't do that. So, how will you face this challenge, chat? People keep voting for 6. Six, you animals. All right, votes have been tallied. Poll is finished. Ah, you have chosen intelligence. You study the water carefully, chat. Using your knowledge of survival, you know that the water inside this well seems to be purified, most likely magically. The sparkling indicates that it's some sort of, perhaps a healing property. As you carefully take a taste of the water and analyze it, you are fairly certain that this water can heal the sick and the wounded. And, because you thought ahead, you take your 2 spare water skins and fill them with this magical water. You now have 2 health potions. You hear the woman scream again, and you run to the entrance of the dungeon. It echoes from inside. It would seem, chat, that your boldness has guided you. It's time to delve into a dark dungeon. Alright. As you enter the dungeon, Clyde, as you walk forward, your footsteps carefully falling on the old stone, the sound echoes all around you. But as you enter the room, you are suddenly startled by light. As this place, these ruins, are suddenly well lit by magical-looking lamps on the sides, located here and here. Up ahead, barely illuminated, you see two statues of some strange creatures. You see that there is a hall to the north, a hall to the east, and a hall to the west. Well, chat, what to do next? You may now, everybody, choose a direction. I'm not going to use straw poll for this one. I'm just going to see which one I see the most. You can either go east, west, or north. What do you do? Okay, I think I've seen east the most. Clyde decides to go east. As he moves east, the light illuminates a strange portrait located here. Unfortunately, Clyde does not possess the prerequisite knowledge in order to know whom is in this painting, but it seems to be of a regal lord and his family. As you move further, you notice that there are stones broken from the cracked walls, and up ahead a strange statue with two scepters can be seen. All right. The statue has in front of it floating red crystals that emanate with obvious magic. You see that the two scepters also contain spheres, but do not glow. How will you face this challenge? Since we have a lot of people watching now, I'm going to give this 2 minutes. Fuck the statue. Charm the ghosts. All right. The poll is now finished. You have chosen charisma, chat. Clyde approaches the statue and the scepters carefully. And as he does so, he begins to think, what should I do? He then leans against a nearby scepter and strokes it longingly and whispers to it, "Excuse me, I notice that you're long and glass-shaped. I find that to be most interesting." But Clyde notices that as he speaks, a strange light sparkles inside of the scepter. It seems that by happenstance, he has uncovered that speech causes the scepters to respond, but what words to speak? How will you face this challenge, chat? And thus, the voting has finished. You have chosen wisdom. Clyde thinks back to the lessons that his father taught him, and to the rumors that he heard from the traveling bards. It is said that magical items have a command word, or at least the artifacts of the past do. It seems that since they respond to speech, all you really would need is the correct word. The correct word would probably be something arcane, but it's also possible it could be something more common, especially if it was used often. And considering that this ruins apparently was a home to a man and his family, it is possible that children were present, so therefore, perhaps whatever the statue did could therefore be something more common. Unfortunately, there are no clues here that remain that could possibly lead Clyde to understand what that spell trigger word might be. Perhaps if he found something with writing on it. Perhaps scrawled away. And so Clyde decides to explore further. Alright, now let me see north or west. Alright, that's pretty overwhelmingly west. Alright. So Clyde Vanson approaches the Western Hall. Hold on. Clyde has perception trained. It is a skill he is proficient with. Clyde has spotted something. What's that? Clyde says to himself, hidden behind the gargoyle statue. What is that, chat? Could it be something secret? Something hidden? Something unseen by the untrained eye? What could that possibly be? It seems to be a lever. Clyde investigates the lever carefully. The lever appears to be in the off position. Do you pull the lever or leave it be? Bop it! Twist it! Pull it! You have chosen to pull the lever. Interesting. Very interesting. I do hope that was the right choice, chat. As you pull the lever, you hear stone grinding on stone. As the stone grinds away, you see that it reveals a hidden door. The door lies in front of you, Clyde. Do you open it? Because you are bold, you decide, of course I shall open it. And inside, you find treasure! You find gold pieces and a strange painting. As you look through the gold, you see that there are 600 pieces of gold located in this secret door, hidden away. You also find an old painting of an incredibly ugly man. Underneath, there is a caption that says, Royal Accountant. You know that this painting is not worth anything, and should probably be burned, but you don't really need it. So, what do you do? The poll is finished. You have decided to burn the painting. You laugh to yourself. Such a painting cannot be allowed to exist. And thinking quickly, you pull out your bag of tricks. And inside you find a flint and tinder. Yes, a flint and tinder. A flint and tinder. And you immediately begin to set fire to the painting. Oh god, that's much larger than I intended for it to be. Okay. You set fire to the painting immediately. It is now taken care of. You've saved the world from an atrocity. The fire burns away the painting, and underneath the painting, you see something else. You see a pile of disappointing ashes. continue to investigate to the west, you see a mysterious room filled with scrolls, potions, cabinets, and other arcane tomfoolery. How will you face this challenge? And that music keeps turning off. There we go. And thus the polling is finished. Ah, you have chosen intelligence chat. Clyde Vanson begins to look over the scrolls and potions carefully. Using logic and reasoning, he begins to read. Yes, read. I said it. He begins to read the words labeled on these potions. Read the words written on the scrolls. And by his studying, he's able to find a few things. First, these scrolls are not particularly magical, but they do describe a process in which one can reveal hidden runes. As it just so happens, chat, the potions here are the ingredients required to make such an oil that if rubbed on stone, hidden runes can be revealed. And so, using your intelligence, Clyde is able to concoct this potion easily, actually. And now he has a potion of reveal, or excuse me, an oil of revealing. It seems that you have found everything that you can find in this area. Do you wish to return to the north or the east? Gold on table. All right, it seems that people want to go north. As you head to the north, you see piles of skeletal corpses on the left and right as you go through the north. The skeletons look as if they were deposited here by some unknown force. As you look closer, the skeletons appear to be human. Some of them have pieces of clothing. But then, the true horror, as some of them begin to move towards you. Fear and panic overtake you as the skeletons begin to move towards you. Two skeletons rise up and with old spears begin to attack you. Now is not the time for talking. Now is not the time to run, for you are far too bold, chat. Now is the time for gratuitous violence. Let the battle begin. You are faster than the skeletons, so you get the first action. Which do you choose? You must be quick, chat. There's no glory in a stalled payload. The poll is finished. You have decided an offensive action. You pull out your bow and fire off an arrow towards the skeleton on the right. The arrow crunches against the skeleton's skull, popping out the back. The skeleton is reeling, but it is not defeated. The skeleton gets closer, as does the other. You gain another action, chat. The poll is finished. You have decided to use your special ability. Remember, your special ability can only be used once per day. Clyde begins to charge with martial energy, runs towards the skeleton on the right, and leaps off its face. He does a cartwheeling backflip and lands over here. The skeleton loses its head and is sent reeling backwards. The skeleton turns and moves up to try and attack you, but it is not yet quite close enough. He's gonna hit us! Ah! The poll is finished. You have chosen an offensive action. Clyde Vanson, not scared of the skeleton, far too bold for such a thing, moves forward with his daggers brandished and strike at the skeleton's arms and chest. The bag of bones is sent reeling from such an offensive action, but it is not slowed down, and it remains close to Clyde. The skeleton in the back slowly starts to stand back up. This skeleton reaches out and tries to claw at Clyde. Its spear, not so useful at close range, it would seem. The skeleton successfully claws Clyde. A cut and gash appears on his left arm, but Clyde is not out yet. He's got plenty of fight left in him. The poll is finished. You have chosen an offensive action. Clyde, not yet slowed down by such a paltry wound, uses his boldness and charges the skeleton with a shoulder rush. The skeleton is knocked backwards from such a reeling and bold maneuver. Clyde steps up and continues his onslaught with 2 more dagger attacks. The skeleton is sent further back, reeling from such battle prowess. The skeleton falls to the ground and turns to dust and is defeated. But the one in the back begins to move forward and picks up his head and places it back on his head. What do you do, Clyde? You have decided an offensive action. Clyde smiles as his boldness guides him. He grabs to his quiver and pulls free an arrow. Sheathing his daggers, pulling out his bow, he will fire 2 rapid arrows in succession, blowing away the skeleton's legs as it falls on the ground and begins to climb. Having this opponent so greatly weakened, Clyde turns away, not even wishing to look at such cowardice, such weakness, and fires an arrow into the floor that bounces off the ceiling and then smashes into the skeleton's skull, shattering it completely. Clyde is victorious. Simple geometry. The skeletons lie broken on the ground. And so, now no longer molested by the undead, Clyde moves forward. Clyde stumbles upon a strange scene. An arcane sigil, glowing with residual magic, can be seen on the ground. He sees an altar, the book open, and 2 candles glowing. Here at the you can't see it, but at the edge of the arcane circle, Clyde finds a woman's shoe. How will you face this challenge? And thus the decision is made. You have chosen charisma. Clyde, thinking quickly, moves around the circle and towards the book. He looks at the book and begins to study it carefully. He turns it from page to page to page. He then begins to pretend to know what he's doing. He says some magical words, and in case anybody's watching, they would know him to be incredibly intelligent and also a wizard. It seems that charisma has no effect on this area. How shall you face this challenge? I think in the future what I'm going to do, if something doesn't work out of the attributes, I'll just go with the second place option. I think that's what I'll do. In the future, I think that's what I'm going to do. You have chosen intelligence. Clyde reads the pages carefully this time, now that nobody's around to actually see him be a real nerd. He begins to read the words from the page, and he begins to realize that this is a book of places, a legend book. Specifically, not a thesaurus, but more of a bard's collection of tales. And it seems that it is bookmarked at a single place, specifically the Iron Horse Stables. And you see that there is a part on the map of Iron Horse that is covered in a red mark, specifically near the slums. Strange. It would seem that this woman is missing. You're not quite sure how, but it seems you've explored everything that you can here. But I wonder, Chet, what do you do with the book? Press 1 if you like bacon. You've chosen to take the book. You equip the book and place it within your backpack. You then turn and walk around the magical signal. You walk past the broken skeletons, and you are now inside the crossroads. Do you wish to go east, west, or south? I'm actually going to do a poll for this one this time. Decisions, decisions, chat. Decisions, decisions. You have chosen to go east. Clyde heads east and arrives once more in front of the statue. Okay, chat. Now you have a few options here. So we're going to do this in two different pieces. First, I'm going to give you a list of... I'm going to give you guys a list of options, and we'll see which one you want to do. Give me a minute while I get this ready. Hold on, I needed to reset it. Ignore that. Ignore that one. Which of these would you like to use? Hey chat, what are those squares over there? Can we lick those? You have decided to use the book. You pull out the book and you hold it out in front of you. Nothing happens. You look through the book some more. Nothing happens. But because you have perception trained, you notice on the back of the book that there's a similar symbol. A symbol on the statue that seems to be on the back of the book. Strange. What to use next? It seems you have decided to use the oil. Clyde takes out the oil and looks at the back of the book. He pops open the oil and pours a little bit of oil on the back of the book. As he does so, he notices that a strange hidden rune appears on the back of the book. It seems to read out. It seems to read out in common the word Zengridus. What should Clyde do, chat? Okay, that's pretty overwhelming. Clyde nods and speaks the word Zangridus. And as he does, the scepters begin to fill with light. The crystal begins to swirl and realign itself. And the crystal opens, and there you see a small bowl. What do you do, chat? That's pretty overwhelming. All right, you have chosen to place in the water. And as you place the water inside the bowl, the water begins to sparkle, and then it changes colors. The water swirls and boils and begins to float up and outside of the bowl. And as it does so, there is a resounding echo of magic as it forms a red glove. Do you take the magic item, chat? What if it's dangerous? The poll has decided. Clyde reaches out and takes the glove, and he equips it. And as he does so, Clyde gains a new special ability. He gains the ability to once a day use Mage Hand. Mage Hand specifically is the ability to use a telekinetic, invisible hand to move objects and to harry enemies. All right. You have discovered everything in this area, and now disappointed that you could not find the woman. Perhaps it is time to return to your old task. And Clyde exits the dungeon. And so Clyde returns back to the main road and continues on his way. His heart is heavy. Although his boldness led him to save the woman, he could not find her. Lacking the proper training and understanding of what he saw in front of him, Clyde was unable to decipher anymore. But Clyde will remember this day. He will remember the place that is marked in the book. And if possible, he'll help that lady, whoever she is. And thus, Clyde continues his journey to Iron Horse. And thus, our session comes to a close. And so, we have some stuff to discuss. This is the end of the first session of Twitch Chat Plays D&D. Just so that you know, I do plan on doing this more often and for longer periods of time. But this takes a lot of preparation beforehand, so I needed to test certain aspects of it to see if it was worth doing. I think that it very much was. I very much enjoyed it. So, if you want to see more Twitch Chat Plays D&D, then I beg you to do me the honor of following and subbing and showing up. I'm probably going to plan on doing it on Mondays right now. That's probably going to be my planned time. I'm going to do it on Mondays at about 1 p.m. And they shouldn't last, they probably won't last any longer than 3 hours. If this happens enough, then I can do even more of these games. But as my big sub goal will tell you, I do need to be able to allot the time properly. So, I do hope that you guys had a fantastic time, that you enjoyed this first foray. We will see what the Chronicles of Clyde Venson hold in his future. Who will he become? What will Twitch Chat do with him? Will he find the woman? Will he complete his father's task? Will he become the man that he could be? Find out next time on Twitch Chat Plays Dungeons and Dragons.